Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in the South and our online audience tuning in, thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. Glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome Alex Tait to our program today. Alex is someone who's been able to do what he loves in front of the camera and behind. We'll talk to him about that journey, what it's been like for him to create, to be able to connect with the fans of his projects, and, of course, let you guys know what to look forward to here in 2021. Alex, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, thanks, Cyrus. I feel blessed to be on with you.
Well, look, the pleasure is definitely all ours. As we're beginning a new year, it's exciting to be able to not only, of course, to think about what's to come, but also to reflect on the journey here, Alex. I want to begin there with you. I mean, what has it been like for you as you kind of look at the work that you've done? What has it been like for you to see the way that people have responded to your career over the years?
Hey, it's actually been really encouraging. Since getting out of college, I moved out to LA and just kind of picked right up. I went to school in Colorado, and I started small, working as a production assistant on The Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp, and then I did some Amazing Spider-Man 2 in New York, and flew back to LA. It's been a blessing to be able to start so fast, and it hasn't been like a fast process the whole time, but just it was like a fast start, and then gradually growing and moving forward is always what I'm trying to do, and I feel like I've accomplished that, and a lot of people have helped me along that journey for sure.
Yeah. And I think, too, one of the things I noticed when I was prepping for your segment initially, Alex, is that you've been able to not only, of course, to amass fans, as I mentioned, but also to be able to work with some amazing people along the way, and that almost becomes like an extended family. Has that kind of been part of the added benefit for you, and not only doing work that you love, but to be around people who love it just as much as you do?
I have been absolutely blessed in my career to work with the top people in the industry, and it happened for me very early on, and it's nothing of my own doing. I completely, other people helped me along the way get there. But yeah, I've worked with so many people who you definitely know the names, but I'm not a person who's interested in name dropping. But yeah, some of my favorite talents I've been blessed to work with for sure.
Well, I tell you, I think, as people kind of look at careers and look at work, you've also become a person not only people enjoy following, but think about, look at what he's been able to do. I would like to do that. What was it about creating that first spoke to you, Alex, and made you say this was something you wanted to do?
Yeah, first creating, my mom got a webcam right when they first started coming out so that she could talk to my grandma, and my brother and I and my cousins, we hijacked it basically, and we started just recording little spoofs on like the Dr. Phil show, and we made this little Lord of the Rings spoof. Well, to us it wasn't a spoof at the time, but now watching it's a spoof. But that really just that really sparked my interest in the directing aspect of it, because usually I was the one, bossing my cousins and brother around. And just watching the joy in people as they watched what I created, and just that storytelling aspect definitely started from an early age. I was probably 6 or 7 when that started. So that's what started with directing for sure.
Well, I tell you, and now, of course, you've been able to enjoy both. I think, one of the things I always, and when I'm talking to someone in your community, the entertainment community, also the thing that always strikes me is the amount of wow moments they continue to have. Is that one of the things you find as well, that as you are kind of thinking about it, like in conversations like this, I know probably you're so in it most of the time, but when someone's asking you about it, do you still have those moments of wow, I have done a lot of stuff?
To be honest, I am never in a state where I'm not amazed at what I've been blessed with, and that's not to give myself credit, because, like I said, it's none of my own. It's part of my doing, but a lot of people have helped me get here. So, I don't feel like I've ever left that. It feels like a dream state almost. It's like this euphoric, just dream state where I would say, oh my gosh, this is like if people or other people were here, they'd be screaming, and I'm screaming on the inside sometimes, but I'm yeah, you have to kind of take yourself out of the just normal 9 to 5 aspect of it. And I've never felt that way about film for some reason. It's never gotten boring or stagnant to me. And I think, yeah, sorry, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I bring that up for a couple of reasons, because I think when people kind of look at your career, you've been able to do, really some amazing things. And I think, in its own projects, of course, that we've gotten to see you up front end, but also even, when it comes to being behind the scenes. So, I think, one of the questions I had when I was first thinking about your segment, and I kind of think about our audience, Alex, is about getting out of our own way. I think there's so many people who are so talented and who can do so much, but we either talk ourselves out of it or we allow other people to talk ourselves out of it. What do you think has helped you from getting in your own way in your career?
As an actor, I want to speak to those people who are struggling with that, because as an actor, people don't realize, but you're the product. So every time there's a rejection, it's not just like, oh, I didn't sell this car. It's like, oh, this is me. This is my, this is my look and who I am. And you start to question your own, worth. And I think that's really sad. And, for me, it's been you need to have a great support system. My wife, Veronica, and my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, sister, they've never made fun of me for wanting to do it. Even when I wasn't doing well or, wasn't making a lot of money in it. Well, I'm still not making a lot of money, but just like when it wasn't, no one was ever like, well, that's not a real career. No one in my, family has ever said that to me. Friends and stuff have scoffed and whatever, but I think it's a support system. You got to have a good support system of non-actors, I think, because a lot of times they're going through the same roller coaster as you. So if your only support system is other actors, it's gonna be rough, I think.
Got you. Good point. And I like the way, you talk about that, because I think there are people who, I think before 2020, where now everyone wished they could work from home, right? But I think, before it's like, you're right. People have their own idea, about us in the creative community. But I think, to be able to have that thing that keeps pushing you is so important. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. Alex Tait is our guest for this segment. You've known him from work he's been able to do in front of the camera, but done a lot of work behind the camera as well. We're talking to him about the journey. And 2020 had some bright spots for you, Alex, including, of course, being able to do a project like Dark Figures being released. Talk to us about that. That is one of the things, of course, a lot of the prep I was doing, I think I was stalking your IMDb page for about a week as I was prepping for this. But, I want to talk about that because it came out, I think, I would say at the best time where, one, so many people are at home, right, and looking for something new. So, talk to us about what it was like for you to have it come out during that time.
Yeah, it was just amazing. We expected it to get picked up for sure, because I think we were really proud of it. But I think definitely the lack of new content coming out at the same time helped us for sure. So we were able to get on a lot of platforms that we got a wonderful distribution company. Gravitas is distributing our film worldwide, and they've just put it out on so many platforms. 2020 was, when we made it, you can never foresee these kinds of things that happen. These little ebbs and flows of life and of the industry, and this was just definitely a fortunate one for us. We were actually able to get it on a couple drive-in movie theaters too. So even when the theaters were down, we were able to put it on some drive-ins, so that was cool for us. Now,
I should mention, that you are not just in it, but you also, literally you're basically in it. You were directing. You're in every aspect, writing. So talk about that. Do you find, for myself, I find the arts to be, even though it's work, I find it to be quite therapeutic. It's almost like your zone. Is that kind of what it feels like for you when you're able to kind of be totally engrossed in a project like that?
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah, every aspect of it. Pre-production is a little stressful. Writing is super therapeutic. Even the stresses of actual shooting days, I love those stresses because they're fun to me. They're so usually they're usually fun. But just just so many like different opportunities for growth. And so for Dark Figures, I wrote it to have like a low budget that my friends and I could shoot. And we ended up getting some funding for it that we weren't expecting, and so we were able to do it better than we had hoped. But that was the goal in the beginning, was just to be able to shoot something. And so then I ended up directing it, and then I put myself in just a little cameo for sure.
Right. And I think, you mentioned family earlier. I mean, I think, for a lot of people, 2020 also, as they were trying to look for those bright spots, it also reminded them of their why. Talk to us about that for you, Alex. I mean, how have you been able to stay connected to your why?
Yeah, my why is definitely my family, my wife, Veronica, and we actually have a baby coming on the way. He's due in a month.
Wow.
Congratulations. Yeah, it'll be our first baby. And I want to make them proud of me, and I want to enjoy what I do, and not just make money for the sake of making money, but show my future son and my wife that doing what you love is more important than money. And I can come back home happy after a day of work. That would be great.
So you ended 2020 with a high note, again with Dark Figures. For those who have Amazon Prime, you guys can watch it, or you guys can rent or buy it on your favorite streaming platform. What else should our audience be on the lookout for this year, Alex?
Yeah, so this coming year we have a feature film that actually Gravitas is also distributing. It's going to be called Final Stop. It's about a rideshare driver who has been living in a cycle of abuse his whole life, and he meets a girl, and he sees that she is also in an abusive relationship, and he basically tries to help her out. And I don't want to spoil it, but it's a thriller, and starring Vince Rodriguez and Kelly McHart, and is directed by Jeffrey Moore, and I assistant directed him and produced it. So it's produced through our production company, Final Stop Pictures. It'll be coming out. We're delivering it in early March, so I'm not positive when it comes out, but I think it's June or July.
Okay. Well, definitely looking forward to that. Again, everyone, Alex Tait has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Alex. Really appreciate you stopping by the show today. Let our audience know how they can stay connected with you, man.
Yeah, so I have Instagram, Taitstagram. It's my last name, Tait, and then Instagram, basically. Or you can I'm sure you can just search Alex Tait, Tait. So we're going to have a website, finalstoppictures.com. We had a website, but we're redesigning it, so it's not up right now. But in a month or so, if you want to look at finalstoppictures.com, you can go there as well.
All right, and we'll make sure for our podcast audience that's joining us through iHeart and Amazon Music Podcast that we make sure that we put that down for you guys to easily find both Taitstagram as well as Dark Figures movie as well. Alex, really appreciate you dropping by the show. It was great speaking with you, and it goes without saying, you're welcome back here anytime.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
They're more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's go make today amazing. Take care.